What's going on, guys? Today I'm working on the Cefiro, and the goal for this video is I want to get it sitting on the ground on the new wheels that we have for it. In the last video we got the rear end all together, we got the handbrake assembly in, brake calipers and rotors on, diff, axles, everything is in. What we got to do now is sort out the front end. We've got this subframe setup that came out of A31. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to strip it down, give it a water blast, paint it up so it's looking nice, and then we're going to bang it in the Cefiro, get the front brakes on, get the wheels on, and get this thing sitting on the ground. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking apart this whole assembly. We're going to take the knuckles and lower arms off the subframe, take the steering rack off, and get all these power steering lines out of the way. I'm going to water blast it and clean it up. Power wash the subframe, the arms, the knuckles, and I also ended up doing the caster arm brackets. They've come up pretty good. There was a lot of dirt and grime on this stuff just from being on a car for 20-30 years. So yeah, they're all cleaned up now. I've just gone over them with a bit of Scotch-Brite just to brace the surface so the paint has something to stick to a little bit better. I decided to just leave the knuckle and lower arm attached because these ball joints are actually in decent condition, so I didn't want to risk ruining them by trying to get them off. Getting the tie rod ball joint off the knuckle is quite easy, but these ones are a bit bigger so they can tend to get stuck on there a bit more. About to hit them with this black zinc, should come out pretty good. We've just got everything hanging on one of Anthony's roll cage bars, bit of wire, bars hanging on some bins. Cuzzy Customs at its finest.
He doesn't even know how expensive that bar is. Like $240 a length now.
Actual?
Yeah. Although Angus got it cheaper.
Now is as good a time as any to mention that if you guys are liking this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Also, if you want to enter for a chance to win the Cefiro, I'll chuck a link in the description below. If you enter via the link, you triple your chances of winning the Cefiro. See you today. I've been letting everything dry overnight and it's turned out pretty good considering that stuff wasn't in the greatest condition. Realistically, it all would have benefited to be sandblasted and then painted or even powder coated. But yeah, still turned out pretty good nonetheless. I actually ended up running out of the black zinc about halfway through, but lucky I had some of this black epoxy paint, had a couple of cans of it, so I was able to finish it off with that, and it's now got a bit of a gloss finish. So about to chuck this stuff in. I've also got to put the front coilovers in. Once we get all of that in, chuck the wheels on and get this thing on the ground. I'm super keen to see what this car is going to look like with the wheels that we've got for it. So I'm not going to ramble on too much, we're just going to get straight into it. working away over the last half hour. We got everything that's painted back into the Cefiro. Now I'm about to chuck the steering rack back in. I had a bit of green overspray on the power steering lines from when it was an Ariki's car, and when they painted the engine bay, it obviously didn't mask anything up. You can still see a bit of overspray on the boot here, but I just decided to hit these power steering lines with a little bit of black paint, just so it doesn't stand out as much, because yeah, with that line, especially this one here, having so much green on it, it would have stuck out like crazy. Just hit that with some black paint, got it looking good. There's still a bit of black overspray on the boot. I might give that a little spray as well, but yeah. We'll get this in, and then we can chuck the brake rotors in and chuck the wheels on. I'm not gonna put the brake calipers on in this video because I actually wanna paint these up as well. Not gonna have enough time to do it in this video because someone at some stage has like painted them red and then painted them black, and they just look crap. So I will paint those up properly in another video, and then we'll get those on. But for now, we'll get the steering rack in, get these wheels on, and get it on the ground. Got the power steering rack all in the car, about to put these wheels on. I've showed you guys these before, but I'll show you guys them again. So these are 18 by 10 XXR wheels. They are Chinese wheels, but they still look pretty cool. They've got a lot of concave on them, and we've got a 225 stretched on the 10. So there's definitely gonna be more of a stancy boy car, but yeah, no, it should look pretty sick. So I'm gonna get these on, and we'll drop it on the ground and see what they look like. Got the wheels on the car now. First impressions, I think they look pretty sick. I've never been a huge fan of black wheels on cars, but I can just imagine, as I catch myself on Anthony's 14, I can just imagine that once the car's painted the same purple as the engine bay, I think these black wheels are gonna look sick, and they're gonna pop real well on this car. I'm gonna take the car off jack stands and get a feel for what these are really gonna look like once the car's on the ground. Right off the rip, the rear is pretty much perfect height-wise. The suspension will need to settle a little bit more, so it might actually go a little bit lower. We may end up having to roll the guard a little bit because there's a decent amount of poke on that, but these wheels look sick. Yeah, so I think we'll probably end up having to maybe roll the guards just slightly, and then when we go to paint prep, we can smooth them out and make them look mint. In the front, obviously there's no motor in it, so the front's quite high, but even with the motor in, I think we might have to lower the front down a little bit. There's quite a lot of poke in the front, so I think we're gonna have to camber it in a little bit. As you can see at the moment on the top hat, it's actually cambered all the way out. Add a little bit more camber into the front, and I think it will be mint. Actually, this side is actually cambered in, so you can see that it makes a huge difference. Coming back to the back again, these look good. The suspension's settled a little bit more now, and I think that fitment looks sick. I 100% think we're probably gonna have to roll these guards just ever so slightly. Because once this thing's on the road and hitting bumps and things like that, I think it's probably gonna contact the guard a little bit. Or do you guys think we should just raise it up a little bit and leave the guards as they are? They've already been rolled previously, but they aren't sort of really pumped out at all. So rolling them more would sort of pump them out, give it a bit of a lip. But since it is a giveaway car, What do you guys think? Should we just raise the car a little bit, or should we actually roll the guard and give it a little bit more of a lip? And then we can smooth it out once we go to do the rest of the paint prep on this. I said it in the last video, but I'm actually super stoked that we're starting to make some decent progress on the Cefiro. Initially, I wanted to have this car pretty much done by the end of January. It's now the beginning of February, and we're only really starting to get stuck into it now, but hopefully by the end of this month, we should have the car pretty much ready to go. Hopefully in the next 3 to 4 days or so, we're going to be getting the motor and gearbox in there. We've got the RB20 deck here and the gearbox for it's just there. We're going to be putting those together and yeah, getting them in the car. We've got a whole lot of wiring and stuff that needs to go down with this. So yeah, once the motor and gearbox goes in, we can get on to doing that. A few other little small bits and pieces here and there we need to sort out. As I mentioned before, we've got the front brakes that I want to paint up and get looking nice and get those on there. I didn't want to chuck them on just with how they are looking at the moment, because you'd definitely be able to see them through the wheels, and I don't think that would look that good. So we get those painted up, get those on, get the brake lines all connected up to the calipers. Got a freshly painted brake booster to go in, put all the brake lines in, and then we can bleed the brakes up. Get the clutch master in there, get the clutch slave in there once the engine and gearbox is in, get that all sorted. I've got a drive shaft for this too as well, so once the engine and gearbox goes into the car, we'll connect that up, and then the whole drive line will be complete. So we should be able to make some big progress on this car over the next week or so. Once we do all that stuff I mentioned just then, we'll finish off doing all the paint prep on this, and then it'll go for paint. I'm freaking excited to see what this car is going to look like all painted this purple. I love this color. I think in the future I'll be definitely painting one of my own cars that purple, because in the sunlight it just looks sick. Once again, if you guys want to enter for your chance to win this car, there's a link in the description below. You enter via the link below, you triple your chances of winning this car. Once it's done, Araki will post it on all his socials and stuff. For all those, it'll just be one entry, but yeah, if you guys enter via the link that's below, you'll actually triple your chances of winning this car. If you guys don't remember, whoever wins this car, wherever you are in New Zealand, you'll be flown here to Christchurch. You get to hang out with me for the day. We'll show you the car, take you for a drive in it, and also we're going to be giving you hot laps in my S14. I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.